Hey, how's it going, everybody? So today we're basically just going to be going over the plyInventory system. We're going to be going over things like player setup. We're going to be going over the canvas setup, and hopefully the item setup. Now this may turn into a few part series, but hopefully we're going to keep the videos, try and stay under 20 minutes. So without further ado, here we go. So basically what we're going to do when we're setting up our players, we're going to do it any other way. Now in the project here, you're only going to be getting the plyInventory folders, not the main. These main folders are basically just for me when I'm developing the standard inventory system that doesn't deal with Plygame at all. So you guys are just going to worry about the Plygame folders here when I'm going through the videos. So I gave you guys a third person and a top-down controller, but we're going to look at the third person for now. So when you're creating your guy here, you're basically just going to create them any other way, right? You're going to put your art, usually I stack everything with my animator that holds all my model information. Inside of it is going to be a child of a separate game object that's centered at the feet here. Let me close that window. At the feet here, and then I put that object basically inside of that empty game object, right? And then we have our main camera, a render camera, and a bag. Now, from the top here, we have our player. Now, the player is basically comprised of two, and this is pertaining to the inventory. It's comprised of two local string variables here, right? Which is one named class and one named name. Now, this variable here is not vital to the inventory system. It's going to be pertaining to the canvas and the information we're going to be showing on the scene, right? But the class variable here is essential to the system, and I'll go into that more when we get into the items. But just keep a mental note that this is something that is on the player. As for blocks, the only thing that's vital is this one block here, which is a on start event, and which is basically runs off of the custom IO system that I've written for you guys for the system. And once again, when we get to the IO and all that, I'll show you guys all the blocks here and how to manage all this. But just know, keep a mental note, this is something that's on the player. So that's pretty much it. You're going to set your Plygame player up exactly how you would normally. Tags and layers all stay the same. The only thing you're going to be really adding for this demo that I'm going to be showing you is just a local variable class, local variable name, and the spelling does matter, right? So now art here is basically the same. I have a standard controller that I created. Camera, nothing special here. Render camera is basically pertaining to the canvas that the inventory uses. Now, the canvas that the inventory uses is going to be shown when I go into the demo and show you guys the preview that I've made. But basically, it's just a front-facing camera that's just going to render the player, so that way you can, just get a view of what your player looks like while you're looking inside of your inventory window, right? And like I said, more will come onto that when I actually show you guys the system working. The bag component here, however, is something you're going to need to add when you're creating your player. So usually what you could do is you could just create an empty game object and then parent it to your player, make sure everything is all centered. And then this plugin that I've created for the transform and then this toolbar up here is something that I'm going to give to you guys with this system here, and then I'll go over this maybe in a separate video. It's a really nifty two time-saving tools that I created here. But yeah, so the bag. So basically the bag is starting off with apply blocks, and you'll see this throughout all of my workflow with Plygame. I'll usually put the ply blocks component at the very top of the inspector tree here, so you'll see that a lot, but the order doesn't matter. So here we have a plyblocks component. Nothing too special in here, but it's all going to be related to the script here. So the script itself is what's going to be driving the main things for your inventory storage, right? So here we have just a blocks field to where you can drag and drop a blocks object into here directly. Usually I reference the bag itself, and this is just going to relate to certain events that's going to happen when you're interacting with the items in the world, right? So here we have a few events. Now, from the top here, we have a distance event, a pickup event, a bag full event, and an inventory full event, right? Now, the main differences between bag full and inventory full is basically the bag full is just going to let you know that you currently are carrying too much for your weight. The inventory full is going to let you know that you don't have any more slots open, so that way you just can't pick anything up because it's a slot limitation, not a weight limitation. Now, obviously, if you choose to use weight or not is where we get into this down here. And like I said, these events here are getting fired from the pickup script that is below down here. So when you pick up an item, it's going to run this event, depending on the conditions that this comes out with. But we can get into the scripts later on. So yeah, basically you can name these anything you'd like. Just make sure when you put them into your plybox component here that these events are the exact same name as these events. So it's a nice little thing so you guys could rename them if you'd like. So yeah, the weight system. Now this is something totally optional because some people like weight systems, some people don't, right? It's pretty straightforward, and I include blocks under the blocks category plyInventory for controlling all the weight settings, as well as slots, currency, and then item management. So here you can use weight or choose not to. This will tell you what your current weight is while you're playing, and this is going to tell you what your max weight capacity is as well. And like I said, the max weight can be changed, depending on if you maybe want to have an attribute or something like that, or you can do a spell that adds like weight to you, and then that has maybe like a movement deficiency outcome. But yeah, that's up to you guys. So the next thing that we can handle is currency. Now, currency is basically something that's super open-ended. Everyone's currency is going to be different in their game. Some people have multi-currency systems like gold, silver, copper. Some people just have a one currency system. Some people just trade sticks and mud. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna vary for whatever your game is. But I just created something that's very simple here for you guys, so you can edit it if you need to. But basically, here we just give our currency a name, and it's gold for us. This right here is what our current currency is. All variable names are straightforward, so I'm pretty sure you guys can understand what's going on. And then the max currency is basically just the max amount of currency that we could have at any point in time. Now, if you're using a integer and not a long, I do believe that this is the max amount that you could have for an integer. I'm not sure. I might be mistaken. I think actually if we add another 9, I think then we might get an error for that. But yeah, I think this is as much as you can have for an integer, but I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. So yeah, that's basically the currency system. Pretty straightforward. Now the equip slots is basically just going to be everything that's going to manage you and how you're going to be interacting with the items that you pick up and equip, right? So right now, for all of these equip slots that we have for our character, we have one for head, one for neck, chest, feet, legs, feet, hands, waist, resource, 2 jewelry slots, 1 weapon slot, and 1 offhand slot. Now, all of these can be changed in the script, and you simply just open the script up if you don't want any of these or you want to change the names of them. Very simple. Open the script up, you right-click on the variable name, you click refactor, if you're using monodevelop, and it's as simple as that. It'll find this variable, whatever is referencing it, anywhere in all the scripts, and it's going to change it to that name. So if you don't like my names, you can change it to whatever you'd like. But basically here is we're basically just supplying transforms, right? And these transforms are relative to what's going to happen when we equip these items, where they're going to be set in the world, right? So for our player here, when we equip something for the head, obviously for my simple guy here, that's included in the models, assets, ply proto, which is something that Leslie has created on the asset store and has graciously allowed me to include in this plugin. so you guys could have some visual aids going on here. Basically, for this guy, I don't have any helmet models for you guys. I don't have any, necklaces or chest armor pieces. I have none of that. So I've opted to just not display any head armor that I equip, any neck armor, chest, feet, all this stuff. I've just opted to not show that equip information. And when I show you guys the items and how to set those up, it'll be pretty straightforward on how you can either tell an item to be shown or to not be shown. And it's a simple rule. But the weapons, obviously, we have some sample weapons, so we do want to supply some information. And basically what we do for that is these we don't want to show, so we just attach their parent. So when we equip it, it's just going to be parented to the feet. So right now our weapon is going to be parented to this dock. And this dock is just an empty game object that we create, and we just parent it to our hand in our rig, right? So this is the rig. We move all the way down to the arm, hand, and then we create an empty game object inside the hand, right? And usually I don't use the hand that comes with it. I like to include a empty game object because if we want to move this, we have the range to move it. We can't necessarily move a bone around if we don't like how it's currently set up. So, and that's basically that. And then we just reset, all the transforms on it, so it's all set up just exactly how the bone is, pointing in all the same directions. And then we do the same for, go back to the bag here. Then we do the same for the left hand. Now, depending on whatever your orientation is, your weapon hand and your offhand might be swapped around. Up to you guys. But that's basically all you do for, if you're wanting to showcase docks for your equipped items. Now, if you wanted to actually show a helmet that you've equipped, then you can just simply specify the field here. Maybe go up to your see if there's one in here. Hip, master, belly, hip, nope, torso, neck, head, and maybe we can create an empty game object here on the head bone. It's probably not head end. Yeah, we may be able to create an empty game object in here, move it up to about halfway, and then as long as our item is the right scale, then we could actually parent a helmet item to this empty game object that we'd have in here, and all we would need to do is just specify it in the transform in the equip slots here. So very simple tool there. And that's pretty much the equip slots. Now the apply item pickup is basically the system, obviously, that's going to be handling item pickup. Now, with the item pickup here, you can either choose to have a pickup range that's large or small. And I've, of course, allowed you guys to rebind this to any key that you'd like. So right now I just have it set to if I'm walking in the world, right, and I left click on an item, it'll shoot a ray down. If that item is on the right layer, then it'll pick the item up. It's very simple. So right now I just have it set to a distance of 4. So as long as my player and the item, let's say it's over here, is within 4, I think, meters is what plugin uses. Actually, I think basically what it is just you do a vector3 dot distance calculation, and it basically just takes 2 vector 3s and then turns that into a float, and then it outputs your distance, right? So that's what this is basically using, that calculation. This right here is just basic reference to the bag, so that way when you pick something up, it knows to get parented to the bag itself. Now this is obviously not dealing with equipping because we're not equipping, we're just picking an item up from the world. So the world item needs to know where to go when you pick it up, and that it's going to be all parented under the bag here, right? So that's how that's all handled. Other than that, that's pretty much it for the whole bag system, which covers weight, currency, and equip slots, as well as the pickup system. Now, if you guys want to look more into the blocks here, you guys can get more extensive. So if you pick up an item, you could maybe do a random int type deal, to where you can maybe play a pool of 5 sounds for your guy, him maybe saying some cool lines and things like that. For when you pick up, same thing for bag fool. You can play audio if you like. So you can do all sorts of cool little stuff in here for these custom events. Let's see, we're at 15 minutes. I think that's pretty much it for the player here. We'll be coming back to these when we get into the inventory. But other than that, I think we could probably cut it off here. And then in the next video, we're going to just jump into setting up the actual inventory and the canvas. And we're going to be going into all the scripts and all the logic that goes into there. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, you got to leave a comment here in the video, or you could just hit me up on the plugin forums. All right, guys, have a good one.